terrorizing. A great beast with eyes like crimson fire. Leviathan returns to devour the world.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Let's Play War Thunder. It's been a good few weeks, and as I tell my team to good luck and have fun, that's pretty much the motto I've been living by these past couple weeks playing this game. It's just have fun, enjoy your good luck, and overlook the bullshit, because there is a lot of bullshit, and none of it's ever going to be really fixed in this game, so take it for what it is. In this replay, I start off the battle in my T-34-57, and it is a devastating tank. I absolutely love this little medium tank. It's armed with a 57mm gun, which you might say is nothing compared to the 76s up to the 122mm cannons that this thing will go up against. But the velocity that the round gets coming out of this barrel is enough to punch through pretty much anything that its 4.3 battle rating will put it up against. So, and its reload rate is fast enough to make it pretty much a machine when it comes to engaging multiple targets at once. Spraying down the woods over there, I don't trust the game to show me a name, because that is oftentimes an enemy tank will pop up before their name will pop up. But we do have a Chaffee up here. I'm gonna try to poke this ridge line to get a shot on. Ooh, first shot going in, hitting me right in the visor port up there, wounding my crew members here. We got two Sherman 105s going at it up here. Obviously they don't know if you just shoot each other in the turret, it's almost guaranteed one shot. But I got to back up my teammate as we're trying to capture A in this single flag capture. It's critical to get that capture off first. That Chaffee, though, put another shot into my turret, wounding the gunner. The turret's now stuck, and as I start my repair and reload, my doorbell rings. And, you know, you have to answer the door, especially when it's the mailman, because if it's the mailman ringing the doorbell, that means he has a package. A few minutes later, as I'm signing for the package, artillery barrages start to come down, and as I'm still signing for the package, that Chaffee up there, well, he starts to get a little bit curious. At some point here, he said to himself, I think that T-34 is AFK. Let me just poke him. Let me just... Yeah, that T-34 is AFK. Free XP, don't mind if I do. Lance Corporal Lopez here in his Chaffee, getting himself a nice easy kill here. Lucky son of a bitch, you're lucky I was AFK, and the package wasn't even mine, by the way. So after I died, I respawned in my KV-1E, and this is a good premium tank. I really like it. It's basically a KV-1 that's been up-armored. They put 25mm plates over top of its 75mm hull armor. Getting the shot on Lance Corporal Lopez there as he ducks behind this ridgeline here. All this damn terrain in the way. Not able to get a second shot off on him. There's a Stug over there. If I can get a shot on him. Nope, it probably hit the damn fence, but the Stug unable to penetrate my 100mm frontal armor plate, 105mm on the turret, 75 on the sides in between the tracks, and 70 and 60 respectively for the rear. Decently armored tank. Its gun, however, is pretty much incapable of penetrating itself. As I'm trying to relocate to get out of here, I got artillery coming down, and I don't want that Chaffee getting around behind me. You will only get a maximum of 77mm of penetration on this gun, and that's under 100mm, or 100 meters. Damn, I can't talk today. Still not trusting those bushes over there. I know that damn Chaffee's around here somewhere, but pretty much anything you'll come across that's German will be able to penetrate this thing from the front. The Su-85 will be able to penetrate it, the T-34-57, the KV-1ZIS, if it's firing its APCR round, which this tank will not get. You get the shrapnel rounds, but you don't get APCR. And some of the higher rated American tanks you'll come across will be able to penetrate this thing from the front. So you can't really trust the upgraded armor on this thing to save your life, but I mean it will get you out of a few scraps, and artillery is pretty much nothing. As I finally find Lance Corporal Lopez hiding behind this building. Is he trying to back up into me here? I don't know. I'm gonna plant a nice shrapnel round into the rear of his turret, just mincemeating his crew, eye for an eye, as I'm backing up here now, trying to get a line of sight into A. I know there's enemy up there. We have a Stug, And let me find that sweet spot. There you are. Another shrapnel round, which can only penetrate 30 millimeters of armor, going into the back of the crew compartment and just butchering that poor crew. As those bombs coming down all around me now, scrambling to get out of here, getting out of there just in the nick of time. Artillery coming down, but because of all that armor on this tank, no damage suffered whatsoever. If I was in a medium or especially a light tank, that would have hurt me pretty good. But artillery is nothing to KV-1E. KV-1E is a strong tank. I mean, it's strong enough for what you're going up against. It's a premium tank, so you get all the nice XP and silver bonuses associated with that. Goodbye, Mr. Panzer IV. It's a KV-1 with more armor, pretty much, and it's nothing more, nothing less. It's heavier and slower than a KV-1, but having that extra oomph to your armor is nice. But unfortunately, we managed to come across our opponent in the same damn tank. As I'm unable to find a weak spot, I managed to start a fire, damaging one of his fuel tanks, but his shot sailing true, wounding my crew members. I'm gonna have to repair. My turret is pretty jacked up. Not too good in a fight if my turret and my crew isn't functioning. 20-second reload time it's gonna be to get this thing repaired, but that's not too bad, considering he's not coming down here after me. And I do have teammates pushing in from the west, so I'm pretty safe in this location, I feel. Oh. Well, maybe not. Lance Corporal Lopez has returned to the field, and this time he's in the damn Hellcat. And there's really nothing I can do at this point as my repair is underway. A shot going in, bouncing off the gun barrel, his shot going true. Straight in between the turret and the hull, killing my entire crew. You lucky SOB. The game pretty much deteriorates from that point on into a spawn camp. I spawn back out in my Su-85. There's a T-34-57, that round ricocheting off the side of the tank. His round ricocheting off the front of my tank, and I'm not trying to stick around to shoot it out with a superior vehicle. The frontal armor on this thing is atrocious. So, yeah, it's pretty much a spawn camp now. But that doesn't mean I'm going to go down without a fight. I'm going to at least make them try to pay as they come into our spawn. This T-34 rolling up around the flank here. First shot going in there, wounding his driver and the gunner, and his ammo as well, or damaging the ammo. Second shot going into the turret here, finishing him off. Oh, sorry, going into the machine gun port right up front, finishing his ass off. We got another T-34 pushing up. He's on the move. If I can get a shot off here. Dips low. His shot did not. Sailed straight through like a knife through butter. Straight through my frontal armor, killing every damn person inside. And that's going to be pretty much all she wrote for me in this game. The Su-85, I'm not a happy camper with that tank. I've managed to research the 85M, but I don't have enough silver to purchase it yet. But the frontal armor on this tank is just horrible. Let's take a look at the post-game stats here, see what we did. Not bad. 14,000 silver. Did pretty good. Let's see, what is that? 5 kills in total. I have since researched that 85M, so ignore that. Not too bad. Not too bad. Top of the team. Up next, we got the Lagg 3. And I forget what map this is, but man, is it pretty. This is how we started off last week's episode. This map is just gorgeous, and so is the Lagg 3. This is a really, really pretty plane. But unfortunately, not exactly all that great in combat, and not all that great in real life either. This aircraft was very unpopular with the Soviet pilots throughout World War II, and for good reason. It was an unpopular plane. It was rushed into production as the Soviets were being invaded by Germany, and really this was pretty much something they had to rush to the front to try and combat the Germans. It was too slow. During development, they initially intended to have a much stronger engine in this thing. However, when that engine proved to be unreliable, they were stuck putting a very weak, underpowered engine behind this, and thus you get a flying brick. I'm not even going to bother with stats and specs on this thing. Let's just say your only real tactic that you can successfully pull off in this thing is just boom and zoom tactics. Gain some altitude, swoop down, strafe, and get out of there. My teammate, I really wanted to go down there and help him out, but 3 against 2, I don't fancy those odds. I'm not in this thing. I'm going to try and head off to the west here. There's way too many enemies coming around this zone here, but we got an H-112 down here that his approach on my allies there proved to be too tempting a target. I'm going to try and swoop down in here and just get off a couple shots. Try not to hit my teammate. Trying to pull it around, but this thing is not agile. It is a flying brick. So breaking off, going to go after this MiG-3, try to get some shots on him. No, he saw me coming a mile away, almost collided there, but not going to bother sticking around on him. Going to keep on the stick and keep going in a straight line, build my speed back up, build my altitude, and find a new target somewhere else. But during the war, they went through 66 different variants from this thing. As I said, once it reached the front, crews were proving that it was a very unreliable and unsuccessful aircraft. So all throughout the war, they were constantly developing and adding new improvements and tweaks to this aircraft as reports filtered back from the front. So that's always good. Its main selling point was the wood laminate construction that went into this thing. It made the airframe very, very durable, and in fact it had difficulty burning, which was really good. That H-112 there, same H-112 from earlier, scoring some damage on his right flap. He's not going to be able to pull out of that, slamming into the cliff wall, giving me my first kill. So I'm just going to hang around this area for a little bit. There is an enemy passing below me here. I want to keep an eye on him. Not too keen on diving down on him just yet. I want to see how my teammate handles that. I want to stay up here, keep my speed up, keep my altitude up, and wait for the perfect angle on the enemy here. Catalina passing me over there, going on his bombing run. I'm going to get some hits on that guy, do a nice little strafing run, but I'm not going to stick around here. My teammate should be able to handle him. I'm going to go find myself some new targets. And I believe I have found one. There's an F-1M. That's a Japanese hydroplane, a little torpedo bomber kind of thing. Kind of reminiscent of can't remember it, the American one that you can fly. But nevertheless, he's swooping in on the 6 of that Catalina. I have to get up here and try and save his ass. Getting some shots on the tail, critting his right aileron, but he's swooping in. Nothing I can do. Taking the wing off that Catalina. That son of a bitch knew he was going down, and he wanted to damn sure take that bomber with him. Nothing I can do for him. I'm going to try to get some shots on this enemy fighter, the MC-202 over here. Trying to help my teammate out. Managed to get him to break off. I'm noticing that my cannon is now run out of ammo. That's reloading, and my water tank is starting to overheat, so I really got to be careful with the engine here. I don't want to push it too hard. And just trying to wrestle with this plane to get a good angle on that damn MC-202. Having a hard time getting this thing to swing around. That BF-110 is going to be a nice target as I'm swooping in here on the dive, building up my speed. Plenty of allies over here. I want to make sure I stick near my team and don't go off on my own. But this BF-110 proving to be a very tempting target. My machine guns are now out. I only have my cannon. And my accuracy still has not improved over the length of me playing War Thunder over the many, many months now. Getting some shots in on him, some hitting, most of them missing. And it's pretty bad when you can't outmaneuver a BF-110, but that's how it is in the Lagg 3. I do have some damage to my tail, though, as a tail gunner of that BF-110 is lighting me up, but this is looking good here. I'm keeping up with him. We're in a straight line now. Nowhere he can really... Wait a minute! Oh, good lord! What the hell happened there? I guess one of my teammates going for a ram. I don't know. I've taken some damage though somehow. I think that was from flak from the ground. I need to get out of here. At least I got the kill there. You can see in the chat there, I didn't know we had an airfield there for a minute, but luckily I found it. I have to put this bird on the ground though. She's taking a lot of damage. The engine is really starting to overheat. I've somehow taken damage to both my wings. I think that might have been ground fire from the enemy flak guns. And this map in particular, for ground strike, you really have to be careful with that AA. That AA will mess you up. I don't know if that's just something that I'm just trying to get used to as the game, as I progress up through the tiers, but like AA is nothing to mess with on this map. So trying to put this bird down on the ground and not rip its wheels off. And I just so happened to pull off a textbook landing there. Can't believe I did that. Usually I bounce halfway across the runway and before I finally get this thing to a stop. So pulling my little Lagg 3 into a stop here to try and repair the damage. This battle, there's pretty much nothing I can do. You can see the tickets up at the top slowly ticking down. And it looks like we have a Catalina, a PBY, on its way over here to bomb the airfield. Hopefully I can... Oh, good lord. Hopefully I can get off this airfield before something bad happens. Oh my god, before something bad happens to me. Oh dear, hurry up. After a short time later, I finally get this thing repaired, gun the engine, and we do have bombers circling overhead, a Wellington and a Catalina. This game is pretty much in the history books. I need to get this thing off the ground. There has to be bombs on their way down to the target now, which is me. Oh my god. Flaps are up. Or landing gears up, flaps are up. And I'm off, thank god, but this game is pretty much over. Take a look at the post-game stats and at least see how I did. Probably wasn't that good, but I mean, for me, a game I could walk away from is a good one. 2 kills, hey, that's good. You only got 400 some silver for it, 1,800 silver in total. But whatever, it's a step in the right direction. If any of you out there know what this tank is from first glance, you'll know how happy I am to finally be able to test drive this thing. This is the Panzerkampfwagen 5D, also known as the Panther, and I've finally progressed down the tech tree enough to be able to research this thing and start test driving it. and I am not disappointed. This thing was produced between 1941 and 1942, with a total of 850 of them built by the Mon Group. It debuted at the Battle of Kursk. It suffered high losses, which is due to its unreliability. It was a hastily produced tank rushed into combat to fight the Soviets, and it was intended to be Germany's new main battle tank. Because the Germans saw very quickly what the Russians were fielding, and they saw that what they had was not enough to deal with that. Thus, the Panther was born. It was given a 75mm KWK-42 L70 gun, manufactured by Rheinmetall Borsig, and many people considered it superior to that of the 88, which was being fielded by the Tiger, a very fearsome gun in its own right. The Panther featured sloping armor, lessons they learned from the Soviets, as well as wider tracks to help it traverse unstable and soft terrain. So what does that translate to for us here in War Thunder? I don't really know. I haven't had the ability to play this thing yet in actual combat, but from what I've briefly sampled here on the testing fields, it is a really fun tank to play. Its stabilization is something I was very impressed with. I was firing on this T-34 here on the move and was scoring hits almost every single time. It only took me, I think, 2 or 3 shots to finish this tank off on the move without a whole lot of bounce from the gun, which I was very, very impressed with. And when I have encountered this thing as an enemy on the battlefield, I'm very reluctant to engage this thing with what I have unlocked due to my inability to really penetrate this thing. So I can't wait to finally have this thing in my arsenal. Look for a video in the future featuring the Panther. So earlier in this video we saw this poor tank getting AFK killed, and I figured that that was a travesty. This replay was good enough to put in this week's episode, and I figured this tank could use a little bit more spotlight on her. This is the T-34-57, naturally sporting the 57mm gun. Originally, the gun on this thing was designated the ZIS-2. It was installed in April of 1941, and they immediately began testing on it. Unfortunately, a lot of problems arose during the testing, and a lot of modifications were required. Unfortunately, though, they were on a very tight schedule because, well, you know, Nazi Germany. So they pretty much had 3 months. Yeah, in July they tested again. They got better results, and they designated the gun the ZIS-4, designed specifically for tanks. It could destroy vehicles up to 2,000 meters. At its maximum range, it could penetrate 73 to 82 millimeters of armor, which is very impressive. But, well, I did say this tank never lived up to its full potential. That is because Soviet command deemed that this tank was unnecessary and not needed. Between 2 factories, they only produced 42 of them, and production was stopped because, again, Soviet command decided that the F-34 cannon that was already in place was sufficient. It was doing a good enough job, and there was plenty of reports from the front coming back that really this gun was just over-penetrating tanks. There was reports of the rounds simply going in one side and clean out the other without inflicting much damage on German vehicles at all. This tank served almost exclusively with the Soviet 21st Guard Regiment during the Battle of Moscow, and by the end of 1941, all of them were lost in combat. And in War Thunder, this tank is a beast. As I mentioned earlier, that ZIS-4 gun on this thing will make short work of pretty much anything that you'll come up against. And from what I have unlocked so far on this thing, the standard armor-penetrating round that this thing fires can pretty much deal with anything you're going to come up against, especially AI tanks. But apart from that, I mean, we devastated that M10 Wolverine there earlier. You can see that plane tumbling around there in the background. I just came out of a bomber kill streak here and noticed that there was a flak tank rolling up on me here. Turning my attention towards him, I don't think he's really going to be able to do anything except annoy me and cause my frame rate to go up. As I'm peppering him with my machine gun, he's driving straight to a mountain. I don't think he even really knew where he was going. Shot going into his engine bay there, setting him on fire as the crew's pretty much doomed here. I'm peppering that turret with my machine gun, not able to find a weak point. Second round going in there, finishing him off, giving me my 3rd kill. I managed to pick up 1 in the bomber, and then there's that Wolverine at the beginning. There's an AI tank, and then now that German AA vehicle. So at this point in the battle, this side of the map is pretty much secure. I do believe there's enemies right over that ridge, and off in the distance there behind those hills and trees is where the enemy spawn is. So I don't want to push too much farther forward than this. I don't really have any support over here with me, so I'm going to make good use of these low hills and depressions here and try to peek with my turret and see what I can see. There's a Panzer IV F2 over there and that KV-1. Both of them will be able to deal with me. That Panzer IV can deal with me from the front, so I don't really want to advance any farther. I'm just going to pull back, put some distance between me and the enemy, and let my ZIS-4 cannon go to work. See if I can get around the flank of that KV. That would be nice. Pushing back to the flag point here, though, we got a KV-1 pushing up from the south here. First shot going in on me, bouncing off my frontal plate. I didn't do any damage to him. Time to get out of here. I'm not trying to get to a ranged fight with really anything out in the open like this. And we do have enemies trying to push the capture point from this hill. So we're going to try and peek here and see what we can see. I do believe there's a Stug over here, and it looks like that Panzer IV F2 is moving up. Can't quite get the depression with this gun. This is about as good of a chance as I'm going to get. Oh no, he's got me in his sights, and I bounced his shot. Unfortunately, he did not bounce mine. I'm now free to go deal with this Stug, who doesn't appear to be noticing me. He's got problems of his own, as it looked like he was taking fire. My shot going in there, taking out his engine. He's burning. With a fixed gun like that, there's nothing he can do except sit here and let me shoot at him. That right there might have been an example of over-penetrating, as I wounded some crew members but didn't finish him off. Third round there, finally taking out that Stug. Move around the ridge here and see if I can finish off the rest of the enemies over here. 5 kills now from regular players, 6 including the AI. Moving around this ridge, looks like there's a Panzer IV F1. Not even noticing that I'm here. Gonna line my shot up. Goodbye. Spectacular explosion there. That Panzer IV F1 just gets vaporized as I drive by, all cinematic like. So now we're just kind of cleaning up. This match is pretty much gonna end in a loss for us, as the enemy is taking all of the points. My team is pretty much falling apart all around me. I've single-handedly managed to hold this side of the map, but all good things come to an end. As I peek a corner here, another Panzer IV F2 shows up, and as I said, he will be able to deal with me from the front. First shot going in, taking out my turret, jamming the turret ring. Second shot's gonna come in soon. There it is. Evil Arnold in his Panzer IV F2 taking me out. Very formidable tank, but against that German gun, not a whole lot I can really do. Well, boys and girls, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Let's Play War Thunder. We're going to wrap up this week's episode with nothing less than a knockdown, drag-out fistfight between two Americans. Two American heavies at that. This is the M6. It was pretty much a prototype tank that never got put into full-scale production because, well, it was just too big for European roads. But in War Thunder, this thing's a beast. And I'm up here backing up this Panzer IV... Oh, nope, no, I'm not. There's at least 3 enemies over there that we can see. One of them is a Panzer IV-H, which I, again, don't really want to deal with that German gun, even in this thing. So I'm going to go ahead and back off here and let the enemies just have a... Oh, shit. Artillery coming down, or something, hitting me in the tank tread, blowing it off. I managed to get myself around the bend here so I can start repairs, but that was a very, very close call here. So finishing my repairs. Can I get a shot on this guy? Oh, no. That would have been awesome. Tracks repaired. Let's go ahead and... Oh, shit! There's bombs! There's bombs that must have been dropped from that IL-2. Dear God. That was too close. Far, far too close. Looks like I have a teammate up here with me now, finally, but I've managed to get myself down into a ditch, and this is a really, really heavy tank. So I'm going to have a hell of a time trying to get myself out of here, and oh, what the hell? Lo and behold, a wild Sherman Jumbo appears. First shot going in, jamming his turret ring, wounding his loader, it looks like, but he's managed to assess the threat very quickly, angling his tank to where I'm pretty much unable to do any sort of damage. My 30mm coaxial gun has an APCR round, but I'm not going to be able to penetrate that guy from the front. My my 75 millimeter or 76, whatever caliber it is, main gun. Again, from the front, I'm not going to be able to do shit against that jumbo. I have to look for weak points, and this thing really doesn't have any that I can hit from this angle. My only hope is to really try and back off here and give him a harder target to hit, but his first shot going in, damaging a whole shitload of stuff. I'm just trying to do anything I can here. I don't have a shot at anything, and trying to get the underbelly, nope, couldn't get that. Another shot coming in, damaging a whole slew of things in my vehicle. Searching for a weak point. I can get that machine gun port, yep. Taking out his machine gunner, damaging some ammunition, and his gunner, it looks like. But, oh, he made a mistake here, angling his tank just enough. I can't get the ammo, but I can get the gap just in between, taking him out. One hell of a fist fight there between two classic American vehicles in War Thunder. Thank you guys for watching this week's video. If you liked it, give it a like, comment down below if you have a comment or a question for me, and as always, take care. I will see you when I see you.